War. War never changes.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to Screwloosegames, and today on the channel we're going to dive into some Fallout. I said in the last video that I needed a bit of a break from Dark Souls, and like with most other people right now being hooked on Fallout Season 2 and the finale having just aired, I can't think of a better time to dive back into my favourite game of the franchise, Fallout 3. But this time answering the question, can you beat Fallout 3 without ever using a weapon? Now, while I imagine the answer is yes, with unarmed quite literally being a skill you can invest points into, I've never actually touched the unarmed combat in, well, any of these games in all my years of playing them, so I'm curious to see what it's like. But as always, let's lay down some ground rules. No weapons are allowed throughout the run. No side questing or level grinding, to make it a bit more of a challenge. No power armor. And as always, have fun. So a very basic set of rules compared to the other challenge runs I've done, and I've even added in the rules like no level grinding or power armor as both a way of making it a bit more of a challenge, but also with the Fallout games having such a vast wealth of side quests and activities to do, if I did anything but focus on the campaign, I could see myself getting distracted from ever actually, beating the game. So with all of that out of the way, let's begin the run. We start off the game literally being born into the world, where our father Liam Neeson instantly insults every member of the modern audience by forcing you to pick between one of two genders at birth.
Are you a boy or a girl?
After making our character, we go through our life in the vault, where as a baby we invest our special points, where we max out strength, take a hit on our perception and intelligence, then spread the rest of the points evenly into endurance and agility. At our 10th birthday, we enjoy the festivities and goad Butch into attacking us by reminding him his mum is an alcoholic on benefits.
Don't you talk about my mom, you little punk.
With Butch now taken care of, our dad takes us into the lower levels of the vault to give us our real birthday present, a BB gun. But this is a weapon, so I won't be using it. I do have to shoot the target so Dad doesn't think we totally hate the gift. But then once the Radroach shows up, we unequip the weapon and using VATS are able to jump through the invisible wall and kill it with an unarmed strike. While we're still trapped on the other side of the invisible wall now, if you wait until Dad gets just close enough, you can once again use VATS on him, phase back through the invisible wall, and give him a swift punch in the balls for not getting us the boxing gloves we wanted. At 16, we take the GOAT exam, but only after beating Butch to a pulp because he doesn't realise that dressing like a greaser hasn't been a thing since 2085.
Okay, you win. We'll leave the little girl alone. You're not worth our time anyway. Come on, tunnel snakes, we're out of here.
Our teacher, being a pretty cool dude, just lets us get whatever final score we want, so we invest it in unarmed, naturally, and put the rest into speech and science. 2 years later, we're woken up to find out our dad has left the vault and the guards are after us, so we need to escape. And now it's time to see what this unarmed combat is really capable of.
More roaches.
Was that me or the roaches? I couldn't tell. Butch begs us to help his mum, but we tell him that Karma's a bitch, and literally watch his mother die while he stands there doing absolutely nothing. Pfft, baddest gang in the vault, my arse. Okay, another guard. Now it's time to see what fists can do.
And now, do this for a long time, you little punk.
Okay, well, I was not expecting that. But I mean, it's just a vault security guard. I'm sure it's going to get harder down the line. We finish off the rest of the guards and then finally make it out into the wasteland. After levelling up, I put another point into endurance and make my way to honestly my favourite hub area in the entire Fallout franchise, Megaton. We head straight to Moriarty's saloon and using our maxed out strength, we're able to bully the ghoul into information on our dad.
Alright, I'll tell you. Please, just don't hurt me.
Then after getting the information we need out of Moriarty, he tells us our dad is headed for a place called Galaxy News radio station. Before heading out though, we sell all of our useless junk from the vault to Moira in exchange for as many stim packs as we can afford, where we then head east to the subway station and eventually come across our first genuinely challenging encounter, the ghouls. The standard feral ghouls weren't too much of a problem, but the feral ghoul roamers proved to be quite problematic. Not only could they take a punch well, but they could also give one back just as hard. And with all of them being in such great numbers, the underground definitely proved to be a decent challenge for the fist-only run. Then, after fighting our way through, we encounter super mutants for the first time. But it was hard to truly gauge how difficult they were right here, due to the Brotherhood of Steel showing up and giving us an assist. Sentinel Lines mentions that they're also heading towards Galaxy News Radio. So after looting the corpses of our fallen comrades, I decided to tag along for the ride. While the Brotherhood was still present and holding their own, I was able to get a good idea of the difficulty of the super mutants, and right now, I'd say they're between the Feral and Roma ghouls. They may have considerably more health than both, but with them being, well, idiots, and mostly using ranged weapons with poor aim, I found the fists were able to comfortably take care of them before they managed to do any noticeable damage to me. Then, after arriving at Galaxy News Radio, it's time to face the big boy, the Behemoth. Now, though it did become very apparent very quickly this thing could essentially one-shot me, I didn't want to just sit back and let the Brotherhood of Steel do all the work. So I intermittently came out to do some chip damage with the fists, but I mean, let's be real here, the chip damage is no doubt the thing that took this fight to victory, right? We go inside the radio station and meet Free Dog, who says he'll tell us where our dad went, but only if we steal him a dish from the museum, so he can boost his coverage, allowing more people to hit the like and subscribe button. Wink wink, nudge nudge. I make a wrong turn at Albuquerque and get ambushed by a bunch of raiders and ghouls, but eventually manage to make my way back to the underground, where after taking out some more raiders, I managed to find a bed allowing me to refill my health without using any of my precious stim packs. A technique I would be abusing throughout the game at any and every opportunity. With my Fists of Fury, the raiders of the underground are no match, and I eventually arrive at the exit right outside the Museum of Technology. Inside the museum, after getting the dish from the lunar lander, and having never touched bare fists before, I discovered something that I never knew was a thing in the Fallout games. Knocking enemies out. More tanky mobs like the super mutant brutes have a chance of being knocked unconscious by bare fists, making them fall to the ground and leaving them exposed to some free DPS. Something that, like I said, I was never aware this was even a thing in these games. I then made my way back out into the wasteland to set up the dish, where I proceeded to have the worst time of my life and die multiple times to the sheer amount of enemies here, with a serious lack of healing items. I wanted to just fast travel back to Megaton to top up on stim packs, but I was unable because of all the enemies. So in the end, I resorted to baiting them out towards me one at a time, giving them the old 1-2 sucker punch, and eventually I'd taken out enough of them that I was able to beeline straight towards the Washington Monument and install the dish. We return to Free Dog, who tells us Dad went to Rivet City to speak with someone called Dr. Lee. We level up again before making our way there. For anyone interested in the build, this is what my current setup looks like at this point in the run. Rivet City was more than easy enough to get to, with Free Dog himself telling us that all we had to do was follow the river. And the only trouble we actually came across was a couple of centaurs, which were all in all pretty easy to deal with since they only came at you one at a time. After arriving at Rivet City, we meet Dr. Lee, who tells us about Project Purity, and tells us that Dad went to their old lab at the Jefferson Memorial. Conveniently enough, it's more or less right opposite Rivet City. So before heading in, we fast travel back to Megaton to sell all of our junk and stock up on stim packs, then make our way back to the lab. There's a few super mutants standing in our way, but they're all spread out enough that taking them on one at a time is more than easy enough. Right now, our bare fists alone are taking down the vanilla mutants in just 3 punches. Pretty decent considering we still haven't actually maxed out the unarmed perk. We find Dad's old research and discover he's gone to Vault 112, and at this point we question if our dad is also a master of the fist, as I have no idea how else he's gotten around the wasteland so much unharmed with supposedly no weapons or combat experience. What must our dad have been like before we were born to survive all of this?
I told you I would find you.
We then make our way to Vault 112 and remember that we now have access to the radio, so listen to some tunes along the way.
But your Pete's got a long, sharp knife. He starts chopping and don't know when to stop.
After arriving at Vault 112, we talk to a brain in a jar who hooks us up to a VR simulation of pre-war life. Now, normally here we'd have to do a series of horrible deeds for Betty or a lot of exploring to escape the simulation, but unfortunately for her, this isn't my first time playing this game, and it's not my second either. And two things that will never escape my memory through sheer repetition are the lottery numbers from Lost, 4, 8, 15, 16, 23, 42, and the code to the failsafe to Tranquility Lane. Radio pitcher, brick, gnome, pitcher, brick, gnome, bottle. With the failsafe now active, Dad and I are both free from the simulation where, instead of catching up on lost times, we get straight on to continuing his research and meet back up at Rivet City as if nothing ever happened. Our Dad, what a guy. Knowing that we were going to be heading to the Jefferson Memorial straight after that and that the scientists wouldn't go in until they were all dead, I beelined for the memorial to clear the place out before heading outside to meet them as a way of saving time. But Dad didn't like me sequence breaking the game like this, so decided to get stuck in a door, meaning I had to reload my most recent save, which was all the way back at Tranquility Lane, and do it all over again.
All of this just works. It's not, I'm not kidding.
With Dad now unstuck, we help him and the scientists get the power back on and clean out the pipes, with Dad promising we'll spend some further sun time together once we finish up here. A promise I'm sure he's going to be keeping. Then, just as we're finishing off, the Enclave attack, who I'm sure, given their advanced power armor, will be worthy challenges of the fist-only run. Well, I'll be damned. Power armor really is useless against a strong left hook. Our Dad then tricks the Enclave but sacrifices himself in the process, leaving us to take care of the survivors. We help them escape through the sewers, and can I just say this is one of the more pleasant escort missions I've experienced in gaming, purely down to the fact that they all move at the same speed you do. Why can't modern games be like this? Why do all escort missions these days have the NPCs moving faster than a walk but slower than a run?
All of this just works.
Anyway, once we escape the sewers, we find ourselves at the Citadel, the main headquarters of the Brotherhood of Steel, where they take us in and tell us that the last place we need to go before locating the GECK, which we need to get the purifier running, is Vault 87. The only problem is, the area around the vault is so radiated that getting in normally is essentially impossible, so we're going to need to head in through a place called Little Lamplight. Fortunately for us though, it's a stone's throw away from the garage where Vault 112 was located, so we really don't have to go that far. Once arriving at Little Lamplight, I try my luck convincing Mayor McCready to just let me in, and somehow with only a 20% chance, I convince him to open the gate for me. Stupid kid only needing 20% for a successful speech check. Now that we're in with no side questing involved, we ask McCready to open up the back gate which leads to Vault 87 and make our way through the caves infested with super mutants. But at this point, our build is so strong that even the Masters are no match for us. Now this is gameplay! We enter Vault 87 and proceed to get lost for the better part of an hour, before finally stumbling upon the big friendly super mutant, Forks. He tells us that if we free him, he'll get us the GECK, as the part of the vault it's in is so flooded with radiation that we'd have no chance of surviving. Given that I literally have 0 Radaway or Radex as I've spent all of my caps in the game on stim packs, we decide to free Forks and he fulfills his part of the bargain, leading us to and retrieving the GECK. Now all that's left to do is get out of here and make our way back to... Oh, my head! Oh, crap baskets. We wake up, kidnapped by the Enclave, and refuse to give up any information to Colonel Autumn, until the President gets him to leave and frees us anyway. Shortly after telling us we wouldn't be harmed if we just came to his office, he immediately goes back on his word and we have to fight our way through. But I accidentally ended up activating a stealth boy when I was going for a stim pack, but it kind of ended up really paying off as it lasted until we reached the finish line and really helped us with some bonus stealth damage. The President then gives us an ultimatum, saying while we are free to go and save the purifier if we can, he wants us to take a modified FEV virus that will make the water poisonous to anything with radiation in its system. We have no interest in this, but we have to take it anyway. We then roll the dice again on a 51% speech check to try and convince him to kill himself and the Enclave with him, and... success! Escaping the base going forward is easy, and the loot plentiful. Outside, Forks is waiting for us, and I tell him to follow me for now just so I know where he is should I decide to load up this save game again in the future. Leaving him at Megaton while I get my final load of stim packs, tell him to stay here, and now enter the finale of the game. We return to the Citadel to tell the Brotherhood the plan, and Sentinel Lion offers us our very own power armor suit or recon armor. But we're not cowards, we won't be taking either of those. Now all that's left to do is follow Liberty Prime to the finish line. I did try and run ahead so I could contribute as many kills as I could to the cause, but soon found out that Prime is just as dangerous to me as he is the Enclave. So then elected to just walk behind him aura farming along the way. Once we enter the memorial, there's half a dozen Enclave soldiers we have to take care of first. While these guys are easy enough on their own, or even just a couple at a time, taking on several at once, each with plasma and laser-based weapons, was a satisfying challenge to end the game on. We get our final level up, leaving us with a character that looks something like this, and enter the Purifier to face Colonel Autumn, who takes a single haymaker to the face, and a single gut punch finishing him off, and pushing him into the waters below. Poetic. We then make the ultimate sacrifice by throwing ourselves into the Purifier to give clean water to all, and just like that, Fallout 3, bare fists only. Thank you all so much once again for watching, and what did I think of Fallout 3 with no weapons? I gotta say, if you level your character properly, this isn't even a challenge. This was easy. I beat the whole game in under 10 hours, and honestly felt like I was killing enemies quicker than I would with normal weapons on a normal playthrough. But it was still nice going back to one of the classics regardless. I'm not 100% sure what the next challenge run video is going to be. I do have all of the footage and script ready for another one right now. In fact, I actually did this run after finishing what was meant to be this month's video, as the one I had planned, judging from the size of the script and well over 100 gigabytes of footage to edit together, it's likely going to be the biggest video I've ever made, and I didn't want you all waiting too long with no content, and with Fallout Season 2 just finishing, it felt right doing this video here and now. But whatever the next run may be, until then, don't forget to like, subscribe, tell your friends, and leave a comment down below about what you thought of the video, what challenge and what game you'd like to see me take on next. Hope you all have a good day. I'll see all of you real soon. And here's a little tease to that biggest video ever that I'm going to be working on for the next month or two. Cheers.